Um, so welcome to Art 117. It's Monday, the beginning of the fourth week of the quarter. And so we are kind of putting the mask project kind of behind us in the rearview mirror. We've pretty much gone through the entire mask making kind of process, from concept all the way through working with materials to see how this works, how it functions, and what the best performance is that we can possibly get out of masks. And the one thing that I wanted to talk to you guys about is that I wanted to take this one more step with me. I'm going to try to sew a mask that's sewn completely out of a mesh material. I'm going to use my same pattern, and I'm going to cut out these shapes and sew the four different shapes together for the two inside liners and the two outside covers that make up our mask. But I wanted to try to make this entire mask out of some kind of a nylon mesh material so that you absolutely have to put um, uh, filters inside of the mesh, because the mesh by itself will not be any kind of a barrier or filter all by itself. And so what I'm trying to do is push this idea of the uh, not the barrier mask, but the respirator to its very absolute limit, because I really want us breathing through a filter and not pretending that the mask cover or the mask liner is a filter. And so by making a mask completely out of mesh and then putting, filter material in it to just breathe through the filter, that takes it to the nth degree. It takes it to the final, frontier, as far as, okay, you only have a framework that is holding that filter in there and that is holding the filter together. And so you are now depending solely on the idea of the filter to be able to breathe through and to protect yourself. So that's the thing. Um, let's see. In the state of Oregon, COVID infection rates are trending up, which is very worrying for public officials. In Coos County, we are still at a high state of risk and a high, risk factor. This is really affecting me personally and professionally, because I can't invite you guys into the classroom to be able to have more in-person kinds of activities and events, which is kind of a bummer for me and for you too. And I'm sorry about that. And a lot of it has to do with people who are relaxing on their use of masks. When we decide that it's okay and that you can go out and not wear a mask in public, and especially when you're coming in close contact with other people, then that's a perfect invitation for a fourth wave of the pandemic to get started again. I can't stress enough how important it is to continue wearing masks throughout the spring and really into the summer and fall. And don't listen to anybody else who tells you otherwise, to protect your own health and to make sure that you're not a someone who does not have symptoms, that you're not an asymptomatic spreader of the disease who still has it and is spreading it to other people. You really need to be wearing a mask through all of this. The CDC announced over the weekend that half of the United States population has had at least one flu vaccine, COVID vaccine injection. And I'm among those people. I have had one vaccine shot, and my next shot, my follow-up shot, is scheduled for this coming Sunday. So we want to continue on with trying to sign up for and getting the COVID vaccine if you can. They open it up to people as young as age 16 over the weekend. And so anybody who has a cell phone is now getting invitations to sign up with different government lists to get your COVID vaccine shot. Those of you who are on campus, you may even be getting contacted by student housing to get your COVID vaccine shot. So hopefully by the end of this month, this is April, it might take even into May, I guess. Hopefully by the middle of May, we're all going to be able to get our COVID vaccine shots. And again, the more of us that can get fully vaccinated, the more that we can achieve some kind of herd immunity and start to see the numbers on new transmission and infections of the disease going down, which is what this is all about. But we can't do it just one way. We have to do this with multiple ways of attacking this virus. And so you got to wear your mask, you got to social distance, and please, please, please get a vaccine too when they become available and when you can get one. Okay, having said all that, do you guys have any questions about the mask project right now? Because there may be questions among you guys that I haven't even considered yet at this point. And so I am super happy to answer a question or a comment. If those of you who have been able to sew up a mask and put some version of filter material in that mask, and if you've been able to wear this and kind of beta test this for a while in your own lifestyle to see how this works for you, please go ahead and comment back to me and back to the class and let us know what your experience is. I'd like to know if you feel like this mask is any more breathable, easy to breathe through than other masks that you've worn, if it's any more comfortable, if it's any easier to speak through than other masks that you've worn. I'm really interested in comparing the performance of this mask to other masks that you own or that you've worn to see whether this is actually any better for you or not. So is there anybody here? I see lots of red microphones with little red slashes through them because everybody's got their mic muted this morning. And I would like to know if anybody has any comments about the mask. Last week, we found that a lot of people were signed in to this class meeting, but then they weren't really attending the class. They weren't paying attention. They were off doing other things. And so I'm checking with you guys, trying to see if anybody's there and has any opinions about wearing the mask so far for this 3D design project. Hey, Maddie's here. What do you think, Maddie? What's your idea? And I'm going to write down some of your comments. So go ahead.
Well, I threw my masks into the washer and dryer so that way I could wear them, and the stitching totally fell apart.
You're shitting me. I'm sorry.
Yeah, so I haven't been able to actually try out my mask because the whole front end on the dragon scale looking one completely came apart, and then it was fraying at the seams on the edges, and then the ear loops came out of them as well.
Okay, that's sad to hear.
Yeah.
But I need to know that. Okay. So I'm going to talk to my sewer, and we're going to try to use more of a chain stitch process. I guess just the straight stitch is just pulling straight out. I know what she's doing. Once she gets the two pieces of mask sewn together along the front edge, she's coming back and trimming this really tight so that there's not a lot of extra material there so that the mask can be turned inside out and hide that seam. But I think that by trimming all the material so close to the seam, it makes it a lot easier for that seam to just rip out there then. So that is the shoot. That is the bad part in this. We're going to need to leave the seam allowance, and we're going to have to run some kind of a much more complicated chain stitch in there, stitching along the seam and also having chain stitching happening to gather together and not let fraying happen along the loose edge of the seam. That is a good piece of information to know. I'm writing this all down, and I'll be talking with her this morning to see if we can figure out a new stitch for the machine, because that's no good. Okay, Maddie, you have not made my day on the one hand, but on the other hand, you've really given me lots to go on with this process, which is good. I appreciate that. Any other comments? And Maddie, if you have another comment, you can sure let us know about it. Otherwise, anybody else in the process? God, that was embarrassing. That was ow. That was not fun. That didn't feel good. And yet
I'm
it was really,
sorry.
no, it's important for me to hear, because holy smokes. Okay. I wanted to let you guys know that when I'm doing my laundry, I do a lot of my wash on a gentle cycle. My clothes usually don't get that dirty, and so I'm trying to lessen the amount of wear and tear on the washing machine, lessen the amount of wear and tear on my clothes. My clothes last a little bit longer, so I do wash in cold and on a gentle cycle. And I just wanted you guys to think about that when you're just washing clothes. Okay. Okay. So anyway, okay. Anybody else have any comments or questions for me about the mask, mask design, any mask performance that you have, other than washing it? Oh my God. Okay. No. Okay. Man, this is a really rough morning this morning. Okay, we're 20 minutes into class now. I wanted to turn to just a very perfunctory presentation for you guys this morning. The next project that I would like to introduce and talk to you guys about is it's a classic project in 3D design classes. And so I'm going to do a little screen share to whip this up here and show you what I'm talking about. So screen share, and where are we? I think we're going to be here. Share this so I can move this out of the way so I can see where I'm at. Okay, so now I got to stop the share so that I could come back and reshare to get this piece up for us. Okay. So you guys, I've done a Google image search this morning, and I'm going to move some of this stuff out of the way so we can look at things here. So one of the classic projects in cardboard, in 3D design classes is another product design, and this time it's a cardboard chair. And I'm just going to click on a couple of these things to try to bring them up in a little bit larger size for us to be able to see what this is. So here we go. So I got to stop the share, and then I got to go back in there to see if you guys can actually see this. Every time I do this, every time I change screens, I have to do a stop share and then reshare again so that you guys can see a revived, renewed image. So anyway, the idea is building a cardboard chair. It is a life-size design that you engage with like totally completely, so that you're building something that will actually support your weight, and so that you're building like this permanent piece of furniture. And the whole thing is kind of designed so that we start thinking about what goes into product design, like a chair. And when the chair has to perform by actually supporting your weight and being comfortable and being proportioned to your body size and the angles that we want to support your body at and everything. So there's quite a bit of material to kind of plow through in terms of looking at cardboard chair design. And this is one kind. This is all the different design schools and design teachers, product designers like to, kind of come up with their own angle on trying to make a chair. And so this one is sort of based on cardboard boxes and the idea of building and designing cardboard boxes where you have certain pre-cut pattern pieces for the cardboard box, and then you've got all of these slots and all of these tabs that are all pre-measured out and everything, so that you can completely knock this thing down so that it's flat. And if you are going to the Rhode Island School of Design or some other Parsons School of Design or some other design school that's in a major metropolitan area, and you have to actually get on the subway or ride the bus to take public transportation to get to your school, that you can take your cardboard chair and totally disassemble it, take it apart, flatten it out, put it under your arm, all the pieces and parts, and be able to ride the subway or ride public transit to get downtown to your school, and then be able to assemble this thing in the classroom in front of the teacher in 5 minutes and have it be completely self-supporting, putting all of the tabs into all of the slots and getting the chair to be self-sustaining. This is only one way of making a cardboard chair, but it's kind of interesting, and it kind of has to do with other uses of cardboard in our culture, cardboard boxes, and the idea of making boxes to fit different kinds of things. We're really into a totally kind of postmodern shipping economy now with Amazon and that kind of thing. So the idea of working with cardboard as a cheap, durable, strong, when you use it with where its strength is a benefit material, is a really interesting project. It's a really interesting challenge for the young designer in a 3D design class. So I'm going to stop this share and come back to you guys. And then I got to find a couple more examples that are not that same kind of example of cardboard chair that I just want to share with you, share the chair with you guys so that we can talk about this a little bit. So I'm going back in here, and I've got to go find a different cardboard chair design. Here we go. This is one that I want to look at. And so, okay. Uh-oh, I'm in Pinterest right now, and I'm not a Pinterest user, so that's going to be interesting. So let me come back to you guys. Where is my thing? Okay, I'm back with you guys now, so I'm going to do the screen share again and see if I can get there from here. Okay. All right. So now I'm doing the screen share. I'm in Pinterest right now, and we've got a variety of cardboard chairs done either commercially available, so that this is the kind of thing that you could get mail order or at an IKEA store or something like that. And this is very much like, the IKEA concept of something that you would put together yourself from a kit, folding it together and making sure that it either glued together or it was somehow put together with slots and tabs so that it would go together. But this is a different concept of cardboard chair. This is making individual cardboard elements for all the different pieces and parts of the chair, and then assembling them together. And so if we start to break down the whole idea of a chair into its constituent parts, we've got things like the back of the chair that you lean against, the seat of the chair that, of course, you sit on. And if it's an armchair, we have arms on the chair where you would place your arms so that your arms are supported in an armchair, which is different than a chair that has no arms, like just a kitchen table chair or a task chair in front of a desk is an armless chair. They usually do not have arms. And finally, the whole idea of the legs. What is the part of the chair that actually supports everything? The legs in the chair have to support the seat and the back and the person sitting in the chair. And so this is a different kind of an approach where we're folding all of the individual elements into cardboard boxes, basically making cardboard box shapes. And what we're going to find in our investigation of cardboard is that it has some inherent strengths and that when you work with the corrugated cardboard, and you're working with it so that the corrugations are running a certain way so that we can take advantage of the strong and strength nature of the cardboard, that you can fold up these individual box shapes and then combine the box shapes into a much larger, more complex system of shapes that becomes the cardboard chair. And I particularly like this. This is the one that really speaks to me. And I think that it may be the one that I'm going to try to get you guys to think about in terms of cardboard chair as we do this project. I'm going to stop the share and I'm going to come back to you guys now. So I'm back. You're probably asking yourself at this point, oh my God, how do we work with cardboard? Where do we get the cardboard from? Well, I have tried to solve this problem several different ways over the years. 30 years ago, when I was in a different state and teaching at a different university, we did this project, and there was a local actual cardboard manufacturer that made corrugated cardboard so that we could go there and get the cardboard in 7 by 10 foot sheets. And so I could drive a flatbed 1-ton truck over there and get an entire stack of virgin cardboard that had never been used, never been manufactured into boxes or anything that we could use. Now, when I'm here and I don't have one of those manufacturers handy and nearby, it's much more of a challenge. So I usually like to go to the furniture store in town, and the furniture store gets all of their mattresses, and all of their furniture comes in cardboard boxes and crates of one kind or another. And they unbox and uncrate all of their furniture that they're selling and delivering to the public. And they usually have a huge bin of flattened out cardboard boxes that are the size of couches, end tables, and definitely, most importantly, mattress boxes. So what I usually do is I'll go over there with a trailer and get a whole bunch of flattened out mattress boxes and bring them over here to the art department so that I've got a whole bunch of boxes that you guys can choose from and use for your raw material for the cardboard chair project. And so what you guys are going to need as tools for this project, especially if we're going to do this at home, you're going to need probably a craft knife, what I'm calling a craft knife. This is the kind of craft knife that carpenters and electricians use on the job. And it takes these replaceable blades, and this one happens to have a blade that is on a lever so that you can retract the knife for safety and then extend the knife blade when you actually want to go cut something with it. And these are razor sharp knife blades that go into these handles. And usually this is made by Stanley Corporation. So Stanley Tool Company in the United States here is a prime maker of this kind of a craft knife. It fits well in the hand so that you can really push down on the cardboard that you're cutting. Some people call this a box cutter, but this is the kind of thing that we would be using for processing the cardboard. You're going to use a couple other tools, measuring tape, measuring device, and some kind of a straight edge and a pencil to basically be able to mark and measure your pieces of cardboard and then draw lines on them and then be able to cut out straight lines with this and some kind of a straight edge, usually a stick, a ruler, or some other kind of a straight edge. And we'll get to all of that. But this is going to be probably our main tool that we're going to be working with on this project. And this is the kind of thing that you'll probably have to purchase from Walmart or some kind of a lumber yard or craft center here in town. So it's something that I just want to get you familiar about and talk about just a little bit. You'll probably need to do one of those kinds of things. Maddie, what's up?
I got mine from the Dollar Tree, and it comes with a replaceable retracting knife thingy. So, for all the students who are listening, you can get yours at the Dollar Tree, and it comes with the new blade. So that's really useful. All for $1.
Okay. Now, did you get this kind with the replaceable blades, or did you get the one that has it's kind of a snap blade knife, where as the as the tip of the blade gets dull, you snap them off, and it reveals another part of the blade that's sharp.
I think I got the snap blade one because my knife has the little lines on the blade.
Okay, and that's what those are for. The blade is really long inside the handle, and as you kind of advance the knife forward, there are those little lines, and as the tip of the knife gets dull, you can just snap off the tip, which reveals a sharp part on the blade, and that's why they call it a snap blade knife. So those are good, and I think you've got a good knife there to work with. That'll be fantastic. Um, I'm not, doing a great job in terms of rolling out this idea, because I've got PowerPoint presentations on the history of furniture, especially the history of modernism in furniture, that I wanted to go through, because modern furniture is kind of like the point of departure for this cardboard furniture. The cardboard types of armchairs that we were looking at there are very much, they come straight out of mid-century modernism. And so we're going to talk about some of the movements of modern design, especially as it pertains to furniture design. And then we're going to try to take some of those cues for our own chair design. What I want you guys to be thinking about starting today is, what is your favorite chair? Do you have a favorite chair in the house that you grew up with? Your parents had furniture, and so it was there a favorite chair, an armchair, a recliner, some kind of a chair that you liked to crash into, something that felt super comfortable for you and was a nice place to sit and read, or kind of look at your phone or do video games or something in. That's a chair, not just sitting on the floor, and not just sitting in a beanbag chair of some kind, but actually, was there a piece of furniture in your, living room or bedroom that was a particularly comforting and comfortable chair for you? That's going to be our point of departure. And I will want you to either draw a picture of that chair if you can from your memory, or we're going to try to do some Google image searches where you might find examples of a chair that are similar to that chair, so that you have some visual references that actually can, show me what that chair concept and design looks like. Because we have to take, usually what I like to do is have you guys recreate the chair that is your favorite chair in cardboard, so that we are doing almost a element by element, feature by feature recreation of the chair. And we're also looking at the proportions and angles of everything in that chair. So seat height, seat angle, the chair back angle and height, the height of the arms possibly, and the thicknesses of all of these things. All of the proportions of a chair are really important, because they all work together in a really important system to make that chair experience what it is, and be a unique chair experience that supports your body and your body shapes and proportions comfortably and in a way that really pleases you. So we're going to start planting that seed as we move forward in chair design. This is going to be like a 200-point project. It's going to take us at least 3 weeks to do this. And so I wanted to try to get it started now, before we might have to come rushing back to mask design about 3 or 4 weeks from now, as June approaches, because that's when the another showcase comes up, statewide showcase for masks and mask design. And so we're going to want to be able to kind of return to that when the time comes to revisit masks and mask design, and give any support that we can to the team as they're coming up to make their final pitch for their invention for Invent Oregon. I'm going to go back to my screen share just a minute and see if I can find one more version of this thing that I wanted to talk about. So where am I going to find this? How did I get here and how do I get out of here? Okay, I've got those kind. What else? I wanted to find a different version of it. God, I'm in Pinterest and I hate Pinterest. I mean, I don't hate it, but you know, I'm stuck. How did I get here? Okay, that's how I got there, and now I'm out of it. Thank God. Oh my God. Okay, so I'm going to look at this kind one more time, and then I'm going to stop the share so that I can reshare one more time. Here we go. Going back to this one. Okay, so if you guys can see this, we're going to allow that. We're going to allow that. Okay, where am I right here? Yeah. Okay, so here's a designer who's gone a little bit crazier with this, and I do think that this is also commercially available too as a chair. I do not want you guys running out and buying a commercial cardboard chair so that you can put it together, take a picture of it, and say that you made this. This is not what I want. Also, this is one of the hardest chairs to make. If you guys cannot see what I'm looking at right now, I want you to unmute your mic so that you guys can tell me that you cannot see this thing. But it is this cross-slotted chair that is a very modern, curvy kind of a chair. And you almost have to have a computer to be able to design this and design all the different pieces and parts and to try to lay out all the different slots and tabs that will go together to make this chair function. Can you guys see this? Can anybody let me know if you can see this chair?
I can see it.
Okay. On the one hand, it's very attractive. It's really cool concept. On the other hand, this is a total pain in the ass to make this chair. And I want to almost discourage you guys from thinking about the slot and tab approach to making chairs, because they're very, very difficult to make and to be able to pull off and make it work for you. But for us to just look at it and be inspired by it and to consider the possibility of the cross slot chair, yeah, this is a cool idea because it takes all of the structure of corrugated cardboard, which we will talk about, and it uses it to its greatest advantage, which is taking all of the sheets of cardboard and having them standing straight up and down, which focuses and transfers all of the weight straight down to the floor from whatever surface the weight is being loaded onto. So where your butt sits, you're loading weight into this system of support for your body, and that system of support has to transfer that weight and be able to support that weight, transferring it to the floor. And the same thing for the back of the chair, and the same thing for the arms of the chair. And so to be able to make a cross-slotted system of support allows you to be able to support that weight and transfer it successfully to the floor so that the structure doesn't collapse and the structure doesn't fold or fail in any kind of a catastrophic way, which is really nice in theory. But this is in practice a very uncomfortable chair. I mean, they threw a little cushion in this chair to kind of make it look like it might possibly be comfortable, but every place else where that contacts your back or your arms, in the arms and the back of the chair, those little edges and those little ridges do tend to cut into your flesh, your back, your arms, and that kind of thing, because we're not giving you a really nicely finished planar thing to support your different body parts on. And so while this is a really cool and interesting concept, it's a really difficult one to pull off. But I kind of wanted to show you this extreme view of the idea of the cross slot chair. And it's something that we'll be touching on and coming back to as we discuss cardboard chair design. But this one does a really good job of mixing some of the funkiness and coolness of mid-century modern design, which was not just about flat rectangular geometric shapes, but also about curving, wonderful flowing plastic and fiberglass construction and shapes as well, especially in the 1960s. By the time you get to 1960s, you get to all of these funky, fun, groovy kinds of chairs that kind of get associated with the whole hippie movement, which is kind of a, it was fun time to live through, but not very practical. And, the design was interesting, but again, not very functional and not very practical. But we will touch on this because it is part of design history for us. So I'm going to come back to you guys after all that. Maddie, I still see your microphone on. Did you want to add more? Did you have some ideas about that?
Oh, I was just gonna say my opinion that it looks more like to be a decorative chair rather than a useful chair.
Yeah, that is a really good observation. That's the interesting thing about furniture design. It's the interesting about product design and being a product designer is that, we're all about, trying to make something look attractive and then trying to get it to perform well, performing its major functions. And whether it's a mask or whether it's a chair, making it look good is like one piece of the puzzle. And then it also has to perform well in all of the other aspects that it's designed for too. And so these become really interesting intellectual challenges for us as designers. Artistic challenges, definitely, but also from a product design standpoint, our products have to they have to perform well. They have to stand up. They have to do the thing, performing the task that they're designed to do. So the chair ultimately has to support your weight, the weight of an adult human at the proportions of the adult human's sizes for legs and seat height and all of that. We're going to go through all of this stuff, and I'm going to be giving you lots and lots of information to go by. But at some point, we're going to have to take our understanding of what a chair is, the concept of the chair, and the different approaches, historic approaches to chair design. And then you're going to become designers yourselves, and you're actually going to build your own chair that you're ultimately going to be asked to sit in and take a selfie of yourself sitting in that chair. Or if we are live, we will ask you guys to turn on your webcam so that you can show us sitting in your chair. Now that might be 3 weeks down the road from here, but it's something that is going to happen. I'll talk to some of you guys individually about some of your own, concerns about being able to do this project. I don't know whether and how successfully we'll be able to do this. I rolled this project out for the first time last spring as we were 1 month into the pandemic, and we shut down school for the first month and couldn't get together. And I tried to figure out a project we could do at home, distanced, and do it as an online learning project. And so the cardboard chair is something that I haven't done before in a design class until the pandemic came up. Now we are 13 months into the pandemic, and you guys are so sick of doing things online, at home, in distance learning mode. And yet the cardboard chair is still something that really lends itself to this kind of pandemic thing. The thing that I can do to help you guys out is I can go transport the cardboard when the time comes for that, about a week from now, and I can bring it around and deliver the cardboard to you. Since I'm probably one of the few people in this class that has a truck and trailer combination. And last spring, it was very wet in the spring with lots and lots of rain. So I have a covered cargo trailer, 6 by 12 feet with doors on it. And I can actually bring dry cardboard around to your locations and drop it off so that you can work with it. I'm also hoping, I am hoping with my fingers crossed, that we will be able to come back in here and do some things in person in a couple of weeks. And so depending on whether we can clean up the rise in COVID transmission in the state of Oregon and in Coos County, so that we can get our threat level reduced down to a moderate threat level, then they will allow us to come to class in person and use the building in person. I will still, if that happens, I will still be spreading you guys out among all the different rooms in Eden Hall and only having a couple of you in each room so that you are socially distanced, you are wearing masks, but at least if you're able to come in here and use the facilities, you can use the knives and the tables and the straight edges and the tape measures and all the tools and equipment that I've got in an art studio that makes manipulating cardboard just a little bit easier for you guys. I'm going to be playing this project by ear. So for the next week or so, I'm going to be doing lots of demonstration. I'm going to be doing lots of presentation, doing a short history of modern furniture design, concentrating mostly on chairs. And then we're going to talk about the possibility of what is chair design and chair proportions. And we're going to look at the actual heights and measurements of the different aspects of a chair when you're designing a chair, so that you as chair designers, if you become furniture designers, which is a wonderful subset of product design, you could become a furniture designer. But we need to understand the proportions of furniture design so that the furniture does fit the individual humans that buy it and use it. And then finally, we're going to go into actually designing and working with cardboard. And so this is kind of a several step process, just like the mask design thing was a several step process that we went through. And I'll be walking you guys through that in the coming week. It's almost 10 o'clock, so I think I'm going to call it a day for now. I'm going to pivot from this presentation into going through and getting caught up on the grading so that you guys know a lot better where you stand in the class with your projects. I can say for the most part that you guys are getting either A's and B's on most of the aspects of the projects that you're doing, unless you totally missed a unit or an assignment or something like that, or completely biffed it. And that usually doesn't happen. So I'm pretty hopeful that most people in here will be running about a B in the class after the 2 or 3 projects that we did with mask making. So you can look at your grades in the grade book and see where you're at with this after today. And then if you get any questions, we can talk about that in the coming days. So I'm going to say goodbye for now, and we'll pick this discussion up again on Wednesday. Have a good first part of your week, and I'll see you on Wednesday. Bye-bye.